The day was full of possibility, but at some point you find yourself low, hot, and frustrated. What are the key differences that are going to help you salvage your flight and keep going, or bomb out and kick your helmet? Today, I'm teaching you everything I know about the art of the low save. And I'm reminding you that the video that I'm going to show you today of myself making a low save in Colima is an invitation for you to join me on a Thermal and XC Clinic all-inclusive tour at the beginning of December 2025. This is pretty much one of your last chances to get on board with that trip. Links in the description below. Are you ready? Here we go.
See ya.
Okay, welcome to Colima. Big astroturf launch, and I'm going to launch the Enzo 3 off of here. So, I'm going to give you just a little play-by-play here on this flight. Launching! Always good to call your launch loud and distinctively so that you don't pull up at the same time someone else is. And calling your glider by a funny name is also a good practice. Let's go, Silly Snake. Okay, so to make any low save, the first step is to bomb the fuck out, which we're all good at, let's be honest. It's not that hard. And today, I really just do it kind of off of launch. So here you see, and pardon my audio, this was before I put those little fuzzy wuzzies on my microphones on the GoPro, so the audio more or less is shit. But there are some beeps in there that are gonna be useful for you, and I promise in future videos you're gonna hear more beeps and cleaner voices and less just of the wind noise. Okay, so this is the home side of Colima. It's just got these knobs that just gently roll down and they just produce so consistently. It's such an easy place to teach people to paraglide because you say you launch off, you turn left, you just get over the knobs and you just fly down the hill and eventually you just run into a climb. And this is really no exception, although this is kind of a lot lower than I'm used to having to go to find the first climb. I'm all the way out here by the road. I'm basically over the LZ. I'm much lower than the takeoff, and I'm hearing some gentle beeps. I know there's a climb around here somewhere. So you can see I turn gently. I'm far below launch. I'm way out front here. And you'll notice a couple of things about my flying here. I'm turning pretty gently. Right? I'm also not panicking just yet, which is also something we're going to talk about today. This is a day I'm free flying on the Enzo. I don't have students following me. I'm not guiding. So I find myself a bit of a climb here, and it's really not that strong. Like my Vario is, that sound out of my Vario, basically I never typically turn in sounds like that, but here it starts to turn into some kind of actually consolidated climb. And I climb out with that. Okay, so we're skipping ahead. Now I'm like 20 kilometers down course line, and here I'm flying directly towards the volcano, which you can see. On the right, I've already flown past the city of Colima, and I'm flying downwind here. You can see that there's smoke in front of me, which is a great indication, and the reason that I'm heading this way is because there is smoke and it's rising. If you see smoke and it's being blown over horizontally, that's not where you want to run towards, because you know that there's wind pushing it horizontally. If you see smoke and it's rising, that's a much better sign, but it doesn't really help just to run to smoke. The reason that I'm going this way is there's birds in the area, and so I'm headed towards birds. So first couple of things with the low save. First of all, your best bet to find a climb is always downwind. So like a Hail Mary, if you're trying to find a climb, is always directly downwind. And then as you're getting low and you're looking for a climb, it becomes really important that you keep your head on a swivel and you start looking for all of the environmental signs that might point you towards rising air. That might be smoke, it might be dust, it might be a dust devil, it might be climbing birds, it might be other pilots. And really, like at this point, let's be honest, you're starting to kind of freak out. You have big expectations for the day. You think you're super awesome, You don't want to land on your CCC glider 20K from launch when you have already hired a dedicated retrieve driver and you've told him that you're going to meet him on the other side of the mountain range in Tapalpa, and that he doesn't need to be there till sunset because you're definitely going to milk 6 hours out of the day. You've made some huge claims on launch about how far you're going to fly. You've got 800 calories on board and 6 liters of water that you're really trying hard to drink. And so as you get low, you're going to face a lot of frustration. There's a lot of emotions that are going to come up. Being aware that your emotions are coming up is really super helpful, because you can say to yourself, wow, I'm feeling really frustrated and a bit disappointed. Acknowledging that is a really good idea, because otherwise you can fight yourself into the ground and have an accident, find yourself without a landing field, all of these things. The first rule for low saves, like rules that you don't break, is you always have to have a LZ on glide, like on 3-to-1 glide or 4-to-1 or 5-to-1 glide, like easy on glide. If you're in a situation where you need a climb, otherwise you're going to land in the trees or you're going to land in a horrible place, that's not a low save. That's called you being an idiot. Don't do it. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about we are getting low, and what are the best practices to find ourselves a climb, and what are the techniques that help us climb out from low. So let's continue. I'm going downwind. You can see that I'm chasing the smoke. And what you're gonna hear is I'm gonna fly into some light climb. I'm also on some speed here. I'm on the rear risers. I'm probably like 500 feet over the ground. There's birds above me, you see? Look at these birds. They're just like booming out above me. This big, tall haze dome, like it's obvious that it was a dust devil or it's taking the smoke up. So as I fly into beeps, I start to turn. And below me is, they're burning a field. Colima is so beautiful, and this particular moment is actually one of the less beautiful places that I found myself. It's right over a pork farm. I wasn't super impressed with the smells that were being lifted into the sky. But there's also an orchard here. We're getting close to the big mountains. So it sounds like I'm in climb here, and I kind of am, but then I turn around and I look upwind, and what do I see? It's not what I want to see, and it's more birds. They're climbing above me, right? So they're a lot above me. So I make another turn before I realize that the climb is actually upwind of me. And that's really disappointing and frustrating, because I just flew downwind through that, and there wasn't a climb at the moment. So what do? I push it back into the wind, I step on the speed bar, I fly into a lot of climb, I slack the ace, almost take a frontal, catch the frontal, turn the Enzo, bending the glider, fly into a bunch of sink, crank it around, fly back into the climb. Oh, is this consolidated climb? Wait, no, it can't be, because there's birds just booming out upwind of me. So there I say, fucker, because I'm frustrated. Like, come on! So I'm already dealing with my emotions here. And there's just this pile of birds just booming out in front of me. So I push on a bunch of speed bar to get over there. So I wrote down a couple tips for us. Look at these birds. So I'm still pretty low. I really haven't, I've like kind of maintained my altitude here. And I see this big haze dome, and I'm a little bit reluctant to turn until I actually think it's a climb or it stops beeping. So I fly all the way through it there. And as I turn around, you see there's this bird beneath me here. And that pretty much reassures me that I am like where I need to be, and I need to stay where I am. Once I kind of realize that I have mapped it, maybe I've made 1 or 2 turns that I've gotten consistent beeps, and I start to realize kind of where it is, I really go into like efficient thermaling mode, and I start to turn really flat, and I just try to stay with it, and I really try to carve, just keep the bank angle of the glider, keep my weight shift locked on, and just keep going around and around and around. As long as I'm getting beeps, slow climb is okay. All right, I don't need to find the big gripping core. Also, it's important to note that as you're trying to climb out, that you might have to connect one bubble to another bubble to another bubble. So you might do 3 turns in one piece of climb, and then it kind of peter out, and then you have to go to another piece of climb and find it, recenter, establish your turns, right? This is where it's really important to stay super aware of your environment, other pilots, dust devils, birds, dust, haze domes, clouds, anything that's going to give you an intuition or a sign of what's happening in the sky, you want to be really aware of these and really sensitive to these, but not frantic, okay? If someone starts climbing, like, you don't need to run over to them frantically, but like, you just got to like keep your awareness, like keep your eyes on what's going on here, okay? These birds, this is one of the best reasons, or this is one of the strongest reasons why I love flying in Colima. There's so many birds, and it makes low saves and thermaling quite a dream, and it really does help. Every single flight I'm saved by the birds, I'm guided by the birds. You see how close they are to the glider right there, like inches. These birds are really big. They're referred to as sopilotes, and they are vultures. They have these white tips on their wings, and they're incredibly good at thermaling. And so they're just the Mexican avian guides. At this point, you can tell I'm climbing now. I have consistent climb rate. I'm making a consistent turn. You keep seeing this bird. This is looking back towards launch. You keep seeing this bird. He's like almost in an adjacent core, and we're just circling together. So I'm not like running over to him all the time or thinking he has a better climb rate. I'm really just being patient, trying to kind of maximize my efficiency here. And like you can see, I've found the core, and I'm just turning consistently, circle, 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 and there's big piles of birds here. So that is just such a godsend to help climb out on a low save. There's nothing like having a bird to dig you out from low. So I'm gonna keep climbing here, and then we're gonna hop to the next clip here any moment, and that's just gonna be kind of the top of the climb where it has drifted, and I'll still be with the birds here. And this flight, I ended up making like 114K to a little town called Tapalpa. You see that bird, he's been in that adjacent climb this whole time, and he ends up out climbing me. And here we are, 3,000 feet higher, and the birds are still in the climb and are still guiding me. And I'm still just making turns in the sky, looking for where the birds are climbing better than me, going there, keeping it flat and efficient, mapping the thermal, sticking with it. That's all it takes. Top out the climbs before you go on glide. And this is just, this is flying over the river here, and this is Cerro Grande. This is a big mountain. Basically, you see that I have like bike gloves on, and that's totally fine. But once you get onto Cerro Grande, then that terrain is so high that it spits you out. I've been to 14,000 feet over that, and so I fly with extra gloves, because once you get on the high terrain in Mexico, then you just get totally pinged out. So I want to pause it here for a moment. I have climbed up Cerro Grande, and I have taken the climb. I think I'm at like 11.5 here, and I'm about to glide towards Tapalpa. You can see that there's this river below me, and on the right, there's the volcano. There's a really special thing that I want to tell you about here. As a paraglide pilot, you end up getting to see the Earth from a perspective that not many people do, and you get to start appreciating things and like kind of be curious about things that you ordinarily wouldn't be. Right now, my body is above Estado Colima, so I'm still in the state of Colima. But across this valley starts the state of Jalisco. Jalisco is the state in which you can make tequila, and the agriculture line is so distinct here because as you fly into Jalisco, you immediately notice that there are so many of these fields that are blue, this like pale blue, because they're covered in blue agave. Literally, the moment that you cross that state line, you can tell the agriculture changes, and so you know exactly where that state line is because of where the agave is planted. It's really interesting. So I had a great flight, and I super milked it, and here I am landing up at I think they're called the Piedrotas, like the big rocks of Tapalpa. So this rock formation here in front of me is super cool, and I ended up landing right here and hitchhiking with some landscapers down the hill into Tapalpa, where Jen and Peter, my favorite student of all time, picked me up. And yeah, so that's, and my GoPro dies just before I land here. But that's Colima, and Colima is a really special place. I'm teaching 3 cross-country clinics there in January. One is an all-women's tour that Sarah Lockwood and Galen Kirkpatrick our guiding, and then after that 2 full weeks of tours. All of those can be found on the paraglidingacademy.com. You got to check it out. If you want to learn how to fly cross country, Colima is the perfect place to do it, and myself and Chris Holub are the perfect people to teach you. So we would love to have you. Check out the paraglidingacademy.com. We'll see you on the next episode. Keep it lit. Keep an LZ on glide. Fly flat and efficient. Be okay with landing. You gotta be okay with landing. That's the biggest thing. If you wanna make a low save, you gotta be calm and cool, and you can only be calm and cool if you can just be okay landing safe. Make sure you land safe. That's the most important part. Fuck climbing out, man. Just land safe. It's gonna be all right. Those are my tips. Hope that helps. Peace out.